we could just sit back and let nature do it by itself.
Okay.
But we don't have that, and we want everything right now. And so we have this scenario that I call it time or money. So you either have time or money. If you have a lot of money, you probably want to spend that money to speed up the geological time. But if you don't have any money, then you have no choice but to take the slower, more natural method of allowing, cover cropping, planting radishes to break it up, planting sunflowers to bring nutrition, planting grass to create biomass, and start that gas exchange and the creation of the O-horizon. So you really have two choices. And in any scenario, if I establish an E-horizon in that parking lot, eventually I'm going to create a source for groundwater to move from the parking lot, get filtered, so we're cleaning up shit, and then go back out to the natural drainage that surrounds me.
And in this case, your E-horizon was just sand, no rocks.
This one, yeah, I didn't need the rocks because where I dumped the sand was all gravelly and chunky anyway.
Okay.
So, I'm not worried about the nutrition. Like in a raised bed, that's different. In a controlled environment, we want the rock for the mycorrhizae to be able to find and mine those nutrients that the plants are asking for.
Yeah.
So that's why we add those different color rocks in, because each color represents a different nutrient profile that can be mined by bacteria and mycorrhizae. So we're providing that parent material that was not in that bed, in that controlled environment. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, and I think you've explained it there, but if you could go maybe a little bit more in detail, I'd like to really picture how you have 3 horizons on top of, let's say, 10 feet of fill. Let's say the fill is mostly clay. You say that that's going to like sort of join into the horizons with time. Like how, let's say that fill, underneath that fill is an actual natural E-horizon. So what happens to that fill with time? Can you make me?
Okay. So actually there will be no E under that fill. What will be underneath all of that fill will be soil. It's probably a field or maybe a forest. We just don't know.
Probably E, A, and then fill, and then you start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think about this. Imagine if I just dug a hole in or a trench through this parking lot and just put sand in there and put the fill back on top. I've created a aquifer because the water can't go below the sand because it's all compacted fill. Mm-hmm. Can't really go out the sides because, it's compacted fill. And now you're driving over the top of it, which is fine because the sand is a source of non-compaction. That's why they use sand in engineered soil systems like golf courses, sports fields, because they know that when people are running on it, walking on it, playing on it, it's not going to compact. And they only put in 1% organic matter. So it makes it almost impossible for fungi and protozoa to live in that environment because there's no organic matter. There's no food. There's no resources for them.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes back to some of the early work I did on public parks. There was a $750 million renovation on the St. Louis Arches. I was a part of that project and a ton of other ones. And the reason they brought me in was because I made this compost extract that was closer to a mayonnaise than anything else, like a liquefied mayonnaise. So it would penetrate down into the sand and create this 6 to 8 inch layer of chocolate sand. And that chocolate bonds the little sand particles together, gives the biology a place to set up shop and start building aggregates. So we'd go back 2-3 months later after 2 applications of this product, and you'd get this chocolate sand sitting on top of the sand. So the water would still penetrate, the gas exchange still happened, people could play on it. The turf actually got better because the rooting systems went down deeper, so it would recover quicker, and pull more nutrient, pull more water out of the soil. So it just created this incredible ecosystem very quickly. but that costs money. You know, these guys had to go out there and apply this shit on these huge acreage. It's not like we can run, you know, farm equipment over it. So that's where the expense comes in. But, you know, these are giant government jobs with grants and money flowing all over the place. So, of course, they got the money to blow to do this stuff. But we little guys don't have that. So here's the scenario. We build this, you know, this horizontal system in a parking lot, come back here 3-4 months from now, and you'll start to have earthworms interfacing with the stuff that we did. And those earthworms will slowly start mining out and converting the parking lot back into what it could have been or should have been. But will there be an E-horizon? I tend to think over time, Tom, eventually, you know, it will provide the necessary soil structure to let moisture escape or heavy rains escape, but it won't really be a recognizable horizon. It'll kind of all gel together.
Yeah.